welcome to the Fishers of Men podcast, episode number 1. My name is Jack Blatchley.
And I'm Aaron Savage.
I am the host.
And I'm your co-host.
And we're pretty much, for this whole episode, we're going to talk about Matthew and the birth of Jesus in our perspective. But before we get into that, since this is the first episode, let's get into who we are. Aaron, would you like to go first?
My name is Aaron Savage. I am a senior at Clackamas High School, and I go to Metro Church of Christ. Some things I like to do in my free time are fishing and timber sports, which are just sort of logging competitions. I like to go on long walks in the woods and be at peace in God's creation and write poetry.
My name is Jack Blatchley, like I said earlier. Things I like to do, I'm currently homeschooled. I am a junior in high school. Some things I like to do a lot of the same things. I like to be outdoors. I like hunting. I like fishing. I like I'm pretty involved with my youth group. I am also an attendee at Metro Church of Christ. I've known Aaron for 8 years.
I think it's been longer.
It's been longer? Oh my gosh. We met in elementary school, so it's pretty crazy how long we've known each other.
It's been a blur.
Yeah, it's been a blur. It's been a long time. It's kind of like time travel, hasn't it?
Yep.
It's pretty funny too, because I didn't know he was Christian, or his family was. It was kind of just meant to be. I invited the right person at the right time to come to Bible class, because we had talked about it, and we both, I think he saw me wearing a Camp Yamhill shirt, and that's a camp that we both go to in the summertime. So it's pretty funny how things work out. It was also pretty funny because his grandparents are pretty well-known people in our community, and it was kind of interesting to find out that not only did his grandparents go to school with my grandparents, but that his grandparents were actually pretty good friends with them when they were in school. And it just happened to be that we were friends and we found each other in public school. So it's been pretty awesome. Yeah. I've been talking for too long. Do you have anything to add?
No, I think you pretty much summed it up.
Yeah. We're going to get into Matthew chapter 1, verse 18, the birth of Jesus the Messiah. Aaron, would you like to read, or would you like me to read the first section?
You can read.
Okay. This is how Jesus the Messiah was born. His mother, Mary, was engaged to be married with Joseph. But before the marriage took place, while she was still a virgin, she became pregnant through the power of the Holy Spirit. Joseph, her fiancé, was a good man. He did not want to disgrace her publicly. Prayed to make Mary your wife, for the child within her was conceived by the Holy Spirit, and she will have a son. You are to name him Jesus, for he will save his people from sin. All of this occurred to fulfill the Lord's message through his prophet. Look, the virgin will conceive a child. She will give birth to a son, and they will call him Emmanuel, which means God is with us. When Joseph woke up, he did as the angel of the Lord commanded, and took Mary as his wife. But he did not have sexual relations with her until her son was born, and Joseph named him Jesus. Wow, that's a lot to get into, isn't it? Imagine finding a girl that you liked or loved. I mean, I guess that's not really how they did it, but imagine getting matched with a girl, and while you guys are engaged, she becomes pregnant. Can you imagine, like, what are your thoughts? What do you think was going through Joseph's mind?
Honestly, I think he was just like, really?
It's
Jesus got you, or God got you pregnant. Really? I think there was a lot of doubt behind his eyes until the angel spoke to him and said, "No, don't worry, this is for real. She's telling the truth. She's not just pulling your leg."
Yeah, could you imagine that if something like that was like happening today? Like some girls like, no, I didn't get pregnant. I'm still a virgin. I didn't have sex. It was God.
Today, guys would have just left.
I know it's pretty. Can we give Joseph a round of applause real quick? Because I mean, to have that much faith. And just how much of a role Joseph was in Jesus' life. Like, seriously, it's kind of funny. I don't know. I don't know what your thoughts are.
Well, I think further on in Jesus' life, it's got to be a little... Like, when he was more about 5 to 10-ish years in that area, it's got to be weird for Joseph because, like... I mean, it's not technically your kid, but it's sort of your kid. Like, you're responsible for him, and you got to make sure he's, well cared for. But it's not your kid. It's got to be weird. Like, does he say, "Okay, yeah, call me Dad," or no, you can call me Joseph?
I know, it's kind of like an adoptive child or like a stepchild kind of situation. It's really kind of funny because are you his father? Because I mean, maybe like in an adoptive sense. Like, do you think that they more took it as an adoptive sense? Because I don't know what I would do in that situation. Because it's kind of crazy. I mean, I'm 17, so I don't really have to worry about that for a while. But
we got time.
We got time.
I'm not looking to have a kid at 17.
Yeah, I know. Oh man.
I think he was just scared to have that commitment before he was married.
Yeah.
Because back then it was frowned upon, and I mean, in certain cultures in this day and age, it's still frowned upon. But back then it was all over frowned upon, and so he's probably like, "Okay, am I gonna get in trouble for this? Is she gonna get in trouble for this?"
Well, yeah, because the punishment of that was death.
Yeah.
She would get stoned. Even as Jesus grew up, that was still the punishment. We can look back at the when he saved the woman from getting stoned, the unfaithful woman, and saying, who without sin cast the first stone. I mean, that's something that's like really crazy, because it's like he could have been stoned, she could have been stoned, there could have been death all around, yet he still decided to take her in. Another thing, did you realize in that story about the casting the first stone, how it says Jesus wrote in the sand?
Yeah.
Do you ever wonder what that said?
All the time.
Isn't that crazy?
Like, there's so much about the Bible that we're just like, well, what did that say? What did that mean?
Yeah. And hopefully we'll get into that in this podcast.
Fingers crossed.
Yep. It's crazy. And by all means, don't just take our word for it. Look into the Bible. Do more research yourself. Don't take our word for it. We're a couple of dumb teenagers. These are just our opinions and what we got from the Bible.
What are you calling dumb? I prefer the term inexperienced.
We are educatedly challenged. And horizontally challenged. I don't know. That might be just speaking for myself.
Oh, no. You're speaking for me too. But on another level, like, not only did they face the challenges of it not being his child and him risking death all around, but he also had to literally pack up and move. He had to go to Bethlehem to have this kid.
Yeah, and then after that, they had to pack up and move to Egypt.
And it didn't stop there. They kept moving.
Yeah, it's interesting because when you look back at when the wise men came to Jesus and Mary, it's kind of crazy because the things that they gave her, it was frankincense, myrrh, and gold, right?
Yep.
Those are all things. Well, so the frankincense and myrrh are used for burial, and if you think about it, that's I don't know. This is my opinion, but it's kind of like it's foreshadowing Jesus' death, because at birth, it's giving him frankincense and myrrh, which is a common thing that they use for burial. It also could have been, this is something that my father has told me, because we've had this conversation, but he said that's also some stuff that were very expensive,
Yeah.
and were very helpful, like would have been very helpful to move to Egypt.
Yep.
Selling that stuff would have been very helpful with the money to move to Egypt.
Yeah. Another thing is, like, the entire Bible is all foreshadowing.
It's
One thing to the next.
It's pretty cool. There were so many prophecies on what Jesus was gonna do and how he was gonna do it, and the fact that he fulfilled every single one of them, and people still don't see that,
Yeah.
is amazing to me.
Well, not just that, but how many connections there are in the Bible.
Yeah.
Like, I saw this map of connections,
Mhm.
and it had the books, and it connected each book to the other,
Mhm.
and it was just chaos. It was just all interwoven and connected to each and every book.
Yeah.
It's insane.
It's pretty insane how the Bible is connected to everything. Like, you can see, like, in our modern Bibles, we see, oh, this is referring to another text in another book. And it's like, how would this author think about this other person that's way off into the past? Like, I mean, you know what I mean? And, like, try to correlate with what they're trying to say and what they said, and using it as an example and showing them that this is right because this has been said before. It's really cool because when you see things repeated in the Bible, that's how you know it's important. The whole chapter of Leviticus, not chapter, but the whole book of Leviticus is repeated multiple times. Like, each thing, the law is, like, repeated more than once. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah. Well, and you think of now, we have it on our phones, we have it all in one book. Back then, it wasn't all one book.
Well, a lot of the Old Testament was one scroll, but it was one really, really, really,
It was
really,
big.
really long scroll. But I see what you're saying. We didn't have, like, a full, like, book like we
Yeah.
would have today.
It was definitely a different way of interpreting and reading and experiencing the Bible.
Yeah.
Partially because you were in the times, but
It's really cool too, because I don't think that we give the Bible enough credit, because it's like back then it was like it was important occasions that it was read,
yeah.
and we don't see that a lot today.
Yeah. Well, and along the lines of back then, you think of how many times Jesus told his close disciples, hey, don't tell other people about this until I pass and come back.
Mhm.
And yet we are just reading them back to back.
Yeah,
People had to wait for those and wait to realize, oh, that happened? Whoa.
they either had to see it for themselves, or they had to hear it from other people that saw it.
Yeah.
There was no, like, written down stuff yet until Matthew decided to write stuff down, you know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, let's not forget, there was also no Google.
Yeah.
Couldn't quite just, hey Siri, what happened in the Old Testament?
Siri, tell me what happened to the Bible today. Or that would be interesting. We could start doing that. See if if
Find a calendar. I have a book. I'm gonna bring that book next time.
do it.
So, sneak peek, I have a book next time that has a Bible verse for each and every date. And so,
But is it stuff that was correlating to that day or is it just a Bible verse a day?
I think it's just a Bible verse a day. But, it's still good.
Imagine people in, like, Bible times, like, it's like have you ever seen the, like, if Google was a person,
No.
videos on YouTube?
No.
Oh my gosh, they're hilarious. So it's basically a guy sitting at a desk and people talking to it like they're talking into Google. And it's like if Google was a person,
Oh, that'd be so much
imagine
fun.
going, like, being in Bible times and going to, quote unquote, Google, just like somebody that's like Google, and be like, hey, Google, what did Jesus do today?
That'd be entertaining.
Yeah. Well, let's look back into our Bibles. Should we look for the birth of Jesus? I don't remember where that is in Matthew.
Well, my phone is not cooperating very nicely. So, paper version of this.
Okay, we'll start in chapter 2. Jesus was born in Bethlehem in Judah during the reign of King Herod. About that time, some wise men from the eastern lands arrived in Jerusalem asking, where is the newborn king of the Jews? We saw his star, and it rose, and we have come to worship him. King Herod was deeply deeply disturbed when he heard this, as was everybody in Jerusalem. He called a meeting of the leading priests and teachers of the religious law and asked, where is the Messiah supposed to be born? In Bethlehem in Judah, they said, for this is what the prophet wrote. And you, O Bethlehem, in the land of Judah, are not last among the ruling cities of Judah. For a ruler will come from you, who will be the shepherd for my people Israel. Then Herod called for a private meeting with his wise men, and he learned from them the time when the star first appeared. Before we read on, let's jump into that real quick. Imagine being a ruler. Go ahead. Sorry.
Could you just imagine a star appearing in the night above a barn stable? My bad.
It was more like a cave. So, there's a lot of talk about like what the stable thing was.
That's true.
A lot of the time back in the day, they used their actual houses, like
That's very
add-ons
true,
to
yes.
their houses. So was it an add-on to their house? Was it a cave? Was it like I was watching a documentary about the birth of Jesus, and when it says laying in a manger, a lot of the times it's talking about a chiseled piece of rock, because back then they didn't build them out of wood. They built them by chiseling in a piece of rock.
Yeah.
Imagine a newborn baby in a chiseled piece of rock. Like, what the heck?
Well, like, so yes, there's that, but a lot of people will look at that manger scene and be like, oh, so cute, and I'm sitting here, I'm like, back then that must have been horrible to have a baby in.
Right?
You got straw and hay everywhere.
Yeah. Don't even get me started about the rashing.
Yeah, and like, this might just be from my experience shoveling horse poop and working in hay lofts, but that's not comfortable.
It is not. And imagine giving birth on that?
Yeah.
No chance. No chance.
To be fair, neither of us will ever experience giving birth, but still.
Yeah, but from what I can tell and what I can visually see when somebody is giving birth, it is already an uncomfortable experience. Okay,
Yeah.
not needing the rashing from the from the hay, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Don't get me started on all the animals that are there.
Oh my gosh, I wonder if they cleaned the trough before they had it.
Well, now we have something to research.
Yeah. So let's get back to King Herod. So, okay, close your eyes for a second. Imagine this. You are a king, right? You are in charge of Jerusalem. And then you worked hard to get to this position. Well, you you are in a point where you have become, I don't want to say greedy, but you've been in power too long. You have all this to your fingertips, and a newborn baby is coming along and gonna take it all from you.
Well, not even that, but imagine you're just sitting there as a king, star in the sky, don't quite know what it means, really bright, and all of a sudden your wise men come in and say, yeah, the new king's been born. The fear and rage he must feel.
Not even given like a notice or anything.
No, just, yeah, new king's been born.
You're out of power now. But was he ever in power, really? Let's be honest. God's always the power, so. Okay. Do you wanna read the next part?
Sure. Which verse?
I believe we're on
7.
verse 9. No, we're on verse 8. We start in verse 8 now. Chapter 2, verse 8.
Yeah. How long do you want me to read for?
Just whenever you think that there's a good part where we should, like, take it apart and talk about it.
Then he told them, go to Bethlehem and search carefully for the child. And when you find him, come back and tell me so that I can go and worship him too.
Okay, let's pause that. I'm sorry.
I was wondering.
Yeah.
So
we obviously already know what's gonna happen, but imagine what the wise men are thinking. They're like, oh great, so we're gonna go find him and then tell where he is so that we can have the king come and worship him too. It's kind of giving them a little bit of hope. Is that just me?
no, I definitely agree, but I also feel like there's got to be some small doubt in their mind. They're like, okay, well, we just told you the new king's been born, and now you want to go and worship him.
And he wasn't really happy about it in the beginning, right? Because he
No.
called multiple meetings, so you would think he wouldn't be happy about this.
He had to be extremely upset. And then to tell them, yeah, I'm gonna go worship. Just tell me where he's at. They've got to have some small doubt at least that maybe that's not his true intentions.
It's like, it's okay, I won't be mad, just tell me where he is.
Yeah.
You want to keep reading?
Yeah. After this interview, the wise men went their way, and the star they had seen in the east guided them to Bethlehem. It went ahead of them and stopped over the place where the child was. When they saw the star, they were filled with joy. They entered the house and saw the child with his mother Mary, and they bowed down and worshipped him. Then they opened their treasure chests and gave him gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. When it was time to leave, they returned to their own country by another route, for God had warned them in a dream not to return to Herod.
Okay. So, there, like we were talking about, do you have something to say?
Just something small. The way this words it, when they saw the star, they were filled with joy. Oh, wait, too far. It went ahead of them and stopped. That implies that star was moving with them.
It's kind of like when the Israelites were following
Exactly.
the cloud in the Exodus.
Well, and so recently, Jack and I got back from, relatively recently, we got back from Manifest where we talked about that. And remember, that cloud wasn't just in front of them. It talked about it being all around them and protecting them.
Yeah.
But yes, I 100% agree.
Imagine just seeing a star. Okay, we see stars all the time, but for there just to be a new star, a new fiery ball of light.
Back then, there wasn't light pollution, so to have it be a noticeable new star means it was big. It was obvious, and it was weird.
Yeah, if a random shiny light just appeared, I don't know that I would have the guts to follow it.
I would probably just turn and walk away because that's kind of freaky.
I'd probably pee myself, honestly. Not gonna lie. A big fiery ball just appearing out of nowhere. Yeah, I'd pee myself.
I appreciate your honesty, but I didn't need that much honesty.
This is an honest podcast, Aaron. We are gonna be honest. We don't care what people say. We're gonna be brutally honest, okay?
Yes,
If we
I
have something
hope
to
so.
say, we have something to say. We
I
can have a
hope
little
so.
bit of fun with this too.
But there's this thing called internal thoughts. That was one of them.
If you know me,
Fair point.
I don't have a filter.
Fair point.
I say what I would say. I don't have a filter. I will say what I say, and I will say what I believe.
But
Even if it makes it awkward, I don't care.
let's continue with your thought.
But yeah, I don't think that I would be able to follow a burning light and not be scared.
Like, it's gotta be just that. Okay, where you taking me? Just gonna trust this ball of light and hope I'm okay.
Yeah. So it also talked about how they just came into the room where Jesus had just been born.
What's up, guys? We're here.
Imagine Mary's position or Joseph, just some random guys just come into your
Imagine.
where you're staying.
Imagine both of them. She had just given birth. He's still unsure.
Hopefully taking care of the baby.
Hopefully, yes. And these three dudes come in and bow down to your child and start worshiping it.
That's not a normal thing.
No. I mean, like, you like when people have birth, you have all these baby showers and ooh, it's so cute, but no one bows down and worships a child.
Another thing, it's like, let's be honest, baby showers weren't probably a real thing back
No.
then. Not
No.
or not like as we think about them. I mean, I'm sure there is something like there's some sort of like celebration, but to have somebody come into your house, you don't know them, they start worshiping your baby, they open a chest full of things that
Treasure.
will literally change somebody's life if they get the money for it, and just pretty much leave, and you never
Pretty
hear from
much.
them again. That's crazy. Come on.
It's got to be just okay. Something's wrong, or something's off with this child.
Yeah.
It's not normal.
It's not normal. I mean, I think they already knew that it was something special, though, so I think they were kind of expecting that.
They expected something.
Something to happen. But to the level of what it did,
Yeah.
oh, that reminds me of the Christmas song. It's around Christmas time. Thanksgiving just ended.
And tomorrow is December 1st, so
Yeah.
I'll allow it.
Yeah. Do you know the Christmas song, Mary, Did You Know?
Oh, I love that song.
Oh my gosh. Oh
One
my
of my
gosh.
favorite Christmas
It is
songs.
my favorite song. Mary, did you know that your baby boy came to save us?
That's gotta, like,
Imagine looking into a baby and knowing that that is something that is going to save you, yourself, and people from now until forever.
imagine looking into your brand new baby boy's eyes. And being
Which is
like,
already something significant.
Yeah, which is already like, wow. And then realizing this child is going to save me from my sins. As the mother, as the father, as the you name it, that's gotta be insane.
Well, not even just that, because I didn't really know that that's what he was there
true,
to do.
True.
But that is the child of God.
And to know that
He has
power.
God's spirit in him. It's just crazy. I mean, we all have God's spirit in us, but it's not until baptism, really, that we do. And God gave him that power because he literally had no sin. It is once we sin that I think we are separated from God in that sense. And we sin when we are little. It just
Yeah.
happens. It's just how it happens. Thanks a lot, Adam and Eve.
Alright. So there's also in this verse it says, then they opened their treasure chests. I don't know about you, but all my little nativity sets are just little teeny tiny boxes.
Yeah.
This version says chests, which leads me to believe it was not a little teeny tiny box.
Yeah, because it's like when you what do you think of treasure chest? You think of pirates, right?
Yeah.
And when you think of pirates, you think of Pirates of the Caribbean. I'm just gonna be honest.
Yep.
Yeah, I know you too well.
Yep.
In all pirates, all of that. When you think of a treasure chest, you think of this big crate, right?
I think a Davy Jones locker. My bad.
Yeah. But you think of a big crate, right? A big
Just
crate full of
huge,
treasure.
overflowing.
Overflowing. Now imagine 3 of those with things that maybe with a little bit by themselves would be life-changing.
Well, it doesn't say how much gold, frankincense, and myrrh was given to them.
But still, any number was significant. It was
Number was
very
significant.
expensive. I'm going to pause the video right now because I got to go pee. And I'm going to leave that in.
Well, you don't have to pause it. I can keep talking if you want.
But if I pause it, I don't know what you're going to say. I'm kind of scared.
I can keep going.
No, but I want some input. I want to hear this.
Okay.
I don't want to miss out on our
Okay,
podcast.
okay.
Are you sure you don't want me to be a reader? Just press pause.
No, actually, Billy, can you come over here? This is my brother Billy. I want to know what he thinks with some of these things.
Guest speaker Billy.
Can I go on a little tangent?
Yeah, what do you want to talk about?
How there might not have been 3 wise men.
Oh
Because-
yeah, it never really like specifies how many
Yeah,
wise
I've
men
heard
there were.
that. I wanted to look into that.
Okay, let me pause. We'll come back and we'll get back into it. Okay, before we get to the thoughts with Billy, because we are having a segment on our podcast called Thoughts with Bill. Spill the tea, Bill.
Real quick, can we have a round of applause for Billy? He has just gotten Jack and I both water.
Yep, thank you, Billy. Round of applause. This is Spill with Bill. Welcome, Billy.
Hi. So, I was wondering about there being 3 wise men.
Yeah.
Is that true?
I think that we think that we're 3 wise men. I don't know that it doesn't specifically say.
Yeah, because I've never seen it. Can we maybe take a look and see if we can find?
I think Aaron's got it.
Verse
Aaron.
7. Then Herod called for a private meeting with the wise men.
So it never specifically says how many wise men there were. It says the wise men. It says there were multiple wise men. They wouldn't say men unless there were multiple.
Verse 9. After this interview, the wise men, also not specified the number. It never once, at least in this version, there could be other versions where it does specify that there were 3. Now, yes, the word. Wait. Never mind. Scratch that. I read a different word on accident.
It's okay. I'm dyslexic too. That's not just a joke. I am actually dyslexic.
However, Aaron is not.
I'm just dumb.
He's just silly.
But yes, it never does once specify in here that there were 3.
Yeah, all I see so far is wise men. Here, I'm in ESV version.
We're in NIV.
I think Aaron is.
Mine's the New Living Translation.
Yeah. So we're all in different versions.
Mm.
And
Then mine is New Living Translation because ours were word for word.
Were they?
Yeah, let me double check. Yep, New Living Translation.
Okay. Then here, I'll check.
This was my baptism Bible.
I'm going to check NIV as well, just because it's a good version.
To add some mix, I'm also going to check another version on my phone.
You know something I just realized? I never knew the date of my baptism birthday, but I just looked at my my Bible, and I never knew that they wrote it in there. I was baptized on September 24th, 2016.
Nice.
Right? That was a long time ago, though.
But don't get me thinking on that being
That
a long
was-
time ago.
I was baptized on my half birthday, exactly, and it wasn't on purpose at all.
2016 was 6 years ago.
Stop.
Oh
Also-
my gosh.
In the Christian Standard version, is that what that one is? I think it is. Yes. It also says, then Herod secretly summoned the wise men, also not specified. Let's check the Message.
Try New American Standard, 1995.
I will.
the real accurate Bible. The most accurate Bible. Fight me on it.
This one says Herod then arranged a secret meeting with the scholars from the East, pretending to be as devout as they were.
I kind of like that better. Because it's talking about, because wise men is kind of like, okay, but scholars?
Kind of broad.
Yeah.
Scholars means they have an education in this field.
Yeah. It's pretty interesting. Because
I love looking at
New American Standard Bible is the one that I always use.
Yeah.
I'm using New Living Translation because it's more common than I would say NASB 1995 is.
I actually usually use ESV.
English Standard Bible.
Yeah, English Standard Version.
Mhm.
But it's mostly because that's the one I downloaded on my Bible app.
Yeah.
And I like having something different than the rest of the class in Bible class, so that there's always just a slightly different view on it.
So we're getting about to the time where we'll have to end this episode. I think we did pretty good. I think we did a pretty good job, if I do say so myself. I think we had a great discussion.
Yeah.
And for our first time, we all had fun. It was a good time.
Yeah,
And
I call it a success.
we got the message out there.
We got the message out there. Yep. Billy, I think we're going to end with Spill with Bill every episode. Kind of give it a last banger.
Mm-hmm.
Every episode will
Maybe
end with
we
Spill with
should-
Bill.
We should end with the answer of my question.
It
And-
doesn't specify.
Yeah, it doesn't. It doesn't necessarily say that there are 3 wise
The
men.
answer is inconclusive.
Yep. So there
All
could
we
have
know
been,
is that
but-
there were multiple wise men. It could have been like 5. It could have been 4. It could have been 2. It could have been 100.
It is assumed that there was 3 because there were 3 gifts,
Yeah.
and they assume 1 from each wise man.
Yeah, but who's to say that I couldn't give somebody 2 gifts?
Well, and who's to say that there were more wise men, but they just all gave the same type of gift?
Yeah,
Could have been.
Guess what?
Well-
We'll never know.
we'll never know. Thank
Wow.
you for listening to the Fisher of Men podcast. Do you guys like that name, Fisher of Men podcast?
I do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Can I bring a fishing pole?
No, it's not that kind of fishing here. Thank you. Come back again. We will be recording again next week. We'll try to do once a week. This is going to be kind of like a interview podcast where we're going to be discussing with other people, and we're going to be talking about just different things. Like we're going to be talking about the roles of the church. We're going to be talking about we're going to bring some people in that are like elders, deacons, ministers, and hopefully get them, pick their brain a little bit, talk about how they came to Jesus. And yeah, I don't know who our first, I think I have an idea of who our first person we should interview is,
But you guys will have to wait.
but you'll have to wait and see. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Love you guys. Grace and peace.
Grace and peace be with you.